Good evening to you all. Y'all already know what time it is. If you follow my page, you already know what time it is. You already know what time it is. Got an extra little treat for y'all tonight. Or something extra. Make sure that this is clean, dry. Okay, so we're getting ready to weigh the puppies, the two puppies that we have. We're going to weigh them. We're going to run them through their early neurological stimulation, which is, excuse me, which is one of the aspects of creating a super dog. It's not the all in all. So I think one of the things we have to understand is that the super dog program was a biosensory program implemented in the late 60s, early 70s by the military, and the goal was to produce dogs that could be real useful in the Vietnam War in the jungles. So this biosensory program was a secret program that the government used to produce these dogs. We have some of that information, some of that data that we can use today in 2025 in order to create better dogs. The first part of that, or the first phase of that, and I'll go over the different phases over the next several nights. But the first phase of that involved pairing. What is the male and the female that you're going to pair? And at the time, they were using mainly the German Shepherds. They did use some other dogs, but mainly at that time, military was using German Shepherds. They are now more into the Belgian and the Dutch Malinois now. But the first phase involves pairing. So when you are pairing or you're getting ready to do a breeding, you're looking at the male and you're looking at the female. And they're the first two things that you're looking at is, there's actually four things you're looking at. Number one, you're going to be looking at genetic health. So genetic health deals with, when you look at the dogs, are the dogs able to pass genetic health tests that are available that detects certain genetic diseases? Okay. When we deal with the breeds that I primarily deal with, which is the Rockwell and the Cane Corso, one of the main things that sticks out in terms of genetic health is hips and elbows. These dogs can have a tendency to get hip and elbow dysplasia. So there's a scientific method for checking for that. With the Rottweiler, JLPP, which is basically juvenile neuropathy, which sets in about 6 months after the puppy is born. They have a test for that where they can swab in the mouth and see, is the dog a carrier. If the dog is a carrier, then the dog cannot be bred with another dog that is a carrier. And this is why the American Rottweiler Club, which is the parent club of the AKC Club, says that when it comes to the Rottweiler and breeding the Rottweiler, that at least one of the dogs must be tested to see whether they are JLPP carriers. If they are JLPP carriers, then that dog cannot be bred to another dog that is a carrier. If it happens with two JLPP dogs are bred and are two carriers, then what happens is those puppies, 50% of those puppies at least, will end up having juvenile neuropathy by 6 months old, and they will absolutely die. Okay, so that's one of the tests. You swab the dog in the mouth, and you can test for that. So we look at genetic health as a foundation. You cannot do anything with dogs that are not healthy. So that's the first part of your breeding program. Then the second part is, does the dog that you're going to breed, do they meet the physical conformation standard in terms of the 7 physical characteristic trait related to the breed? This is related to every dog. I don't care what dog it is. Those traits are ears, head, neck, back, front end assembly, rear end assembly, and tail. Those are the 7 structural parts. So you're looking at those several structural parts. You want to make sure that the dog meets the breed standard in terms of the 7 structural parts, both the male and the female. Now that is just a baseline of what should be done. But you're talking about producing puppies that are superior to the parents. So how do you do that? You're gonna have to go into the pedigree, which is the lineage or the genealogy, the parents, the grandparents, the great-grandparents. And you're going to have to look at those dogs, and you're going to have to assess whether those dogs met the genetic criteria in terms of health, and how close were they to the standard of the breed and those 7, in terms of the 7 structural traits that I just mentioned in those 7 areas. Now, why is that important? I hear breeders all the time say, well, I'm going to breed the dog that's in front of me. And what they're saying is, I'm going to look at the dog in terms of the genetic health. I'm going to look at the dog in terms of physical conformation. And based on that, if they pass those 2 hurdles, I'm going to use those 2 dogs and I'm going to breed them. When you do that, you'll get about 50% of what you want to produce. You can get. But now, if you went to school and the teacher gave you a test, and there was 20 questions on the test, and you got 10 of the questions right, and the other 10 you didn't get right, that's a failing grade. So how do we get closer to the number? How do we get to the 75, 80, 90 percentile? You look at the dog, and you look at the bitch that you're going to breed, and you look at each one of them pedigree. In that pedigree, you go down 3 generations, and you look at those 3 generations, you get about 14 dogs. Out of those 14 dogs, each one of them have, remember we talked about the 7 character traits, physical traits. 7 times 14 is 98. You get 98 pieces of data to look at from that pedigree to determine. Somebody trying to come in, I'm not. To determine whether those character traits are there in order to breed that dog. Why do I say that? Because you could take two crappy dogs and put them together, two garbage dogs, and if in the three pedigree, if the structure is there, the temperament is there, the genetics is there, you'll get some good dogs out of that breed. Same thing when you take two nice dogs. If you take two nice dogs to meet the conformation standard and you breed them together, but inside of the back of the pedigree, the parents, the grandparents, and the great-grandparent do not meet the breed standard in terms of the 7 structural parts you're going to get. No matter how good those dogs in front of you look, you're going to get crappy dogs. So the people who are producing the best dogs in terms of production, they are the people who understand the science of breeding. They understand that you just cannot look at the two dogs in front of you, that you got to go deeper than that. Got to be willing to look at the pedigree and look at those 7 structural parts in the pedigree times 14, which gives you 98 pieces of information on the mother side and 98 pieces of information on the father side. Okay? I'm going to go get these puppies. Y'all give me a second. Okay. .5, 2.5 pounds. So this puppy has rapidly picked up weight over the last few days. That's the smallest one. And that puppy is 2.50. It's more documented. 5, 6, and we said 2.50 pounds. Yeah, that's a nice jump. Okay. This is the bigger one. Now, with this puppy, I'm having to watch. I have to monitor this puppy because this puppy is drinking so much milk and it's so big. So I gotta monitor this puppy to make sure that this puppy does not get swimmer's feet. I don't want to have to deal with that. I had to deal with that before, and I was on the verge of dealing with it again. That happens often when you have a mother that has a lot of milk and she has a small litter. And that's the case. I have these 2 puppies here. So I got to watch that. I don't want to deal with swimmer's feet. It could cause some issues down the road. Let's get a weight on this puppy here. 291. So this puppy will be 3 pounds tomorrow. 291. Be 3 pounds tomorrow. And then that puppy would be 3 pounds. 3 pounds day after tomorrow. Okay? So I kind of monitor this weight on these puppies. Time. Okay. Any questions? Why did I hang him upside down? Remember, we're talking about producing super dogs. And we're talking about the biosensory program started by the military to make sure that dogs that were produced by the United States military could withstand the hostile terrains, the Vietnam jungles, right? So part of that is part of that program. Remember, I told you that program was rolled out into phases. And the first phase was identifying the parent, going into the 3 generations of the pedigree, and making sure that the parent was right. Well, once that's done, once the parent is done, and it's done based upon scientific research in terms of the several structure part, the genetic health, going inside of the pedigree to identify those several structure parts, over 14 dogs, that's 98 pieces of information. Going into that, then there are other things that should be done. That is part of what we call early neurological stimulation. Okay, there has been tons and tons and tons of research concerning early neurological stimulation. They have did it with rats, mice, rats, chimpanzees. They have even done it with human beings. And all of the research shows that exposing the dog to specific researched And so when I say research, I'm saying you don't go out and make up something on your own. Scientific research shows ways that you can stimulate the dog over short periods of time from the age of 3 days to 14 days old that rapidly wires the neurological system in the dog, that boosts the immune system. And remember, there's a tremendous psychological growth period of time, mentally growth period of time in terms of the health, building the immune system, etc., etc. All of this stuff is taking place during that time. So that particular stimulation in terms of the nervous system, the heart rate, the adrenaline, all of this stuff has the ability to change the dog forever. And it has the ability to produce dogs that are far superior to the dogs that do not get it. So that's piece of the process. And I'm trying to roll this out one piece at a time. But when I get to that part in a couple of days, tomorrow I'll talk about something else. I'll talk about a supplement that is used. And then right after I talk about that, which is day 3, we'll be going into explaining the dynamics behind what I just did with those puppies in terms of putting them in the different positions. And even so you're dealing with tactile stimulation. You're also dealing with thermal stimulation. Those are the 2 stimulations I did on the puppies. Tactile, thermal. Okay, and then the different positions. The tactile was the first thing you saw. The last thing you saw was thermal stimulation. But in the middle of there, I did something also. And that, what I did relates to the blood and the brain. What do I want it to do? How long am I putting those puppies in that position, and then for what reason? Okay? I'm going to explain all that day after tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to deal with this supplement. Okay? We're going to deal with this supplement. I did say that I had something extra I was going to do. I'm going to go back there. If you all could tap the screen, get me up to 100 likes. I'm going to do something different. So if you could tap the screen, get me up to 100 likes in the next 60 seconds. We're going to roll out a few other things. It's just tap the screen, tap, 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 tap. And get me to 100 likes. We're at 4 likes now, so we got 96 to go. You get me to 100, we'll go ahead and go into the second part, well, actually the third part of our live. So we're at 16 now. Tap, tap, 17. I'm going to get these wipes ready because we're going to need these wipes. I'm going to take that puppy. I'm going to take that puppy back. I'm going to take these puppies back in there to their mother. We're at 42 likes. Continue to tap the screen till we get to 100. Once we get to 100, I go put these puppies up, and we'll deal with the third part. Okay. Not really advertising these puppies because the female that had these, I had been trying to get. Okay, y'all got me to 109. I had been trying to get a female. The last litter she had 7 puppies. One of the puppies was stillborn, and then I had 6 others. I had 5 males and 1 female, and I messed around and accidentally cut the wrong light off. Then realized I cut it off, and when I realized that and went back to cut it on, she had laid on that 1 puppy, and it was the female. So I did not get a female off of her. We did a repeat breeding. Not a repeat breeding because we didn't use the same dog. But in terms of how she was bred, I'm having to do a DNA test, a dual style DNA test on her. So hopefully these are Bishop puppies. We don't know yet. Like I said, it's only 2 of them. I'm not in a rush. I'm going to be keeping one of these puppies for my program maybe two, maybe both of them, but I may consider letting one go. But I want to hold on to them and I want to watch their development because I do shows, and I like to take my puppies to shows, get them VP rated, and get them some show experience, so that if I do decide to keep them, I'll be able to go ahead and take them and possibly champion them out. Okay. So this is the smallest one here. Okay, I'm gonna take them back. I'll be right back. Y'all give me 1 second. Got a little treat for y'all. Give me 1 second. I'm working on something. I'll be right back. Hey. Okay. I actually have 8 of these. Brought out 2 tonight. I had to heavily deworm them. I took them from their mother early. A little early. 4.5, 5 weeks or whatever. 4.5 weeks. And I did it because I had a puppy that ended up dead. And really couldn't explain how that puppy ended up dead. But that puppy had its jawline bit off. So because I couldn't explain how that happened, I went ahead and pulled those puppies because I don't like to lose puppies unnecessarily. If that makes sense. So here's doing something different. This is one. I don't know if it's a boy or girl. That's a boy. But we're working on, after deworming them, getting their weight up. Not in a rush to let them go. Oh, he's there. Not rushing to let them go. we keep puppies up to 8 weeks. So we got a couple weeks. We have already really heavily dewormed them over the last 3 days. Not gonna give them anything tonight. I'm gonna probably wait until closer to the weekend and deworm them again. And this time I'm gonna use I use parental suspension. But one of the things I noticed is that parental suspension does not always get everything. So I got some Pedigree that I went and got, liquid Pedigree, and I'm going to use some of that. And that's going to help. It's going to help with their weight and all of that. So get your weight up. We got 8 puppies, 4 of these puppies are sold, but say we're gonna work on them. We get their weight up a little bit, and then we'll look at getting their ears cropped once we get their weight up. Let's look at this puppies. Okay, so orange collar. I'm gonna go ahead and start tracking their weight. Orange collar. And I only have a few collars, so I'm going to order some collars tonight. Let me get me another sheet here. So today's date is the 26th, 5/26. And that's orange, 4.5. Okay. We're going to take this gray collar and put it on there. I do have some black brindle puppies and some blue brindle puppies. So we started out with 10. She had 10. They did do an x-ray on it. They told me that they saw 5 to 6 puppies. I ended up having 10. Had the 10 puppies, and from now to the end to this time, I lost 2 puppies. Which, you know, I've been doing this since 2012, and typically speaking, you're gonna lose about 2 puppies. Now, if you don't lose 1 or 2 puppies, chances are you probably got a really, really extremely good mother. But I expect to lose a few puppies. I'm gonna weigh this puppy without 4.35. Still, buddy. The rain has not helped me either. It's been raining, so they haven't spent much time outside since I took them from their mother, because it has been raining like the last 3 days. So we kind of behind the 8 ball on outside playtime, which is important. Yeah, that's good. But we're gonna give them some. I give them something tonight. Some extra food. Okay. So yeah, that's what we're dealing with. Those puppies are they're gonna be just fine. I may have to keep them a little longer before I crop the ears. I usually crop puppy ears at 6 weeks old. But if they're down on their weight and I have to give them something extra, then we'll hold off a week or even 2 weeks, whatever we need to do. We're gonna always work to put the best interest of the puppy first. So if they down a little bit, We'll work with them like that sweet taste, don't you? Work with them and get them up to where they need to be at. Now, there's some litters you won't have any challenges at all with. You like that taste? That weird? You're gonna know on my finger. Okay, so tomorrow I'll pull out. That was great color. And we said 4, 3, 5. So now I am monitoring their weight, and tomorrow I'll weigh these, and then I'll weigh 2 more. I'll bring out 2 more and weigh them until we get all of them done. And what I'm also doing is I'm going to go ahead and order a collar. I'm going to begin to mix this in a diet along with some dyeing. I'm going to put some dyeing in there, and also a little taste of ground beef. I go get them some ground beef and go ahead and start giving them that. The biggest thing is when you're breeding, if you run into an issue, and I promise you, I've been doing this for 12 years, you will run into an issue periodically. Do not rush to send the puppies out. If you have to hold the puppies until they look and they're moving and they're doing everything that you need them to do before you send them out. Do not rush to send puppies out. And I run into people all the time that call me for consultations because they got a puppy from somebody that was probably premature in terms of the time period that they should have been giving them the puppy. If you need to hold a puppy an extra week or extra 2 weeks, hold that puppy. Make sure that when you send that puppy out, the puppy does not have no worms, they're up to date on shot, their weight is up, they're eating good, their poop is solid, that you have a dietary program, a nutritious program that you develop for that puppy. The puppy is eating really, really good, processing that food well, then you send that puppy out. Do not rush and send a puppy out because you want some money in your personal pocket. Always look out for the interests of the puppy first. Okay, gotta quit that. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions relating to breeding, puppy care, anything like that? All right, I got to get off here because I got 8 puppies to feed. So I'm not going to be on here long. Let's see. All right, hey, thank you all for getting me up. Y'all got me up to 683 likes. Make sure that you follow me. I'm going to be giving some additional content. We're going to talk about some of the dreaded diseases related to certain breeds. We're going to be talking about that going forward. We also are going to be talking about different lines, which is a Pickett's touch and go subject, and what those lines are known for in terms of the Rockwell and the Cane Corso. Also, we're going to be talking about Ghana. Ghana is, I usually come on about this time, about 1 or 2 o'clock. But what I will do is, if I get an opportunity and you don't catch it, I get an opportunity to break a clip up, like I may break this one up, and then I'll post those on the timeline so you can see the highlights. So you can see the highlights. But make sure that you all come and that you have your questions. We're going to talk about the dietary supplement that the mother needs time she's bred. What is the best dietary supplement to give her that's going to help those puppies. You're going to be surprised at what it is and where you can get it at. Hey, I got to get out of here. Y'all have a blessed rest of the night. Peace.